Bell Ends of the Week. Oh, this is a new segment. Sam! Stinger or something. Just before we get started, a big thank you to today's sponsors, Squarespace and Datacamp. More about them in a bit. Hello, everyone. Welcome to... Okay, get it right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Brain Blaze Culture Corner. This one we're talking about live streams that went wrong. God damn, I don't really do live streams, and I'm always I've done a few, and I'm always unnecessarily scared. And because normally when I make a video like this, I don't really think about what's coming out of my mouth before I say it, because afterwards I know if I say anything too crazy, I'm going to be like, let's not do that, let's cut that out. And I feel like on that edge is quite good. But with a live stream, you got to be like, yo, you say something crazy. You say something inappropriate by accident or because it's a joke and then you realize that you can't make a joke like that or a joke like that goes too far. With a live stream, it doesn't matter. That it is out right away and there's nothing you can do about it.
You shout like that, they put you in jail right away.
Fortunately, I don't think anything has ever happened to me on a live stream where I've been like, shit. But people obviously have, and that's what we're looking at today. Live streams, Danny writes it, I read it. Sam afterwards adds some stuff.
Cocaina. No. Flour.
When you're brave enough to present yourself to the world via the medium of live stream, and it is brave, you might want to adopt the professional and well-prepared approach. Check yourself in the mirror beforehand, make sure you visited the bathroom before you start, hide the crack pipe and the vibrators well out of shot. Simon already knows all this elementary stuff. Oh boy, do I.
Wait a minute.
But who remembers a well-prepared professional? If you really want to gain live stream immortality, just make a humongous cock-up, which is bound to cement your place in internet history. Although the other entries in this video concern unexpected incidents that occurred during an actual live stream, we kick off with one example of why it's always a good idea to consider whether you should even be doing one in the first place. In 2019, Ricardo Sr. from the UK received an unwelcome letter from BMW. Earlier in the year, Ricardo had struck a financing deal with his local BMW dealership on a new BMW M4. I gather this kind of thing works a little differently in the US, where it would be more typically described as a personal contract purchase, or PCP. PCP is also something else, but under Ricardo's finance deal, he was able to take home the £70,000 car after making an initial upfront payment of just £3,000 and then agreeing to pay just over £600 every month for a period of several years. He was effectively leasing the car, which would still legally belong to BMW until very nearly the end of the agreement, where Ricardo would either have the option of handing in his keys or buying the car outright at a vastly reduced price. Yeah, it's called a balloon payment, right? You get to the end and they're like, you want to keep it? And you have to pay a small price to keep it, or you can return it.
Here's my money. Take it and go away.
I thought you owned the car, but I guess in this case he had a lease. Okay. As the M4 remains the property of BMW until that time, they get to dictate what you can and can't do with it. And it turns out that pimping up the car with your own dramatic DIY modifications is a serious no-no. I'm sure that's I would think that I own the car. And then I'll be like, it's my car. I can do whatever I want to it. I'm just financing it through BMW. They're like the lender. And to be fair, though, if you have a mortgage and you want to change something drastic to your house, you have to ask the bank, because they're like, don't do it. If you might do something that reduces the value of the property so much through your modifications of your house that we will say no, and you won't be able to do it if you want to continue having a house.
But I want to play.
I didn't know this, but it would be in the terms and conditions. And look, you should probably read the terms and conditions. I'm like, this guy's, he's going to get in trouble, isn't he? He got a letter. This unwelcome letter from BMW informed Ricardo that they had discovered he'd been making unauthorized heavy modifications to the vehicle, which violated the warranty and potentially reduced the total value of the M4. He was informed that the financing had been revoked, and he now had just 2 weeks to find the money to pay for the car outright, or it'd be taken away from him. He's losing that car. I mean, maybe he has the money to pay for it. It's 70 grand. I don't know. I've never financed a car. If I want a car, I've always just bought it. Which I guess is a privileged thing to do, but it's also well, I've just bought cars that I can afford. rather than something I can't afford. But that is an awful lot of money to come up with. 70 grand in like 2 weeks. Someone who's spending £600 on a car is a lot of money on a car, but it's not like someone who's got 70 grand in the bank. I mean, maybe it is. But how did they know what poor Ricardo had been up to in his own private garage? I'm guessing he's live streaming it or YouTubing it or some shit. Or maybe it's because he owns a popular YouTube channel called Living Life Fast, in which he regularly ran live streams bragging about the entire process from start to finish.
What are you, fucking stupid?
Well, he doesn't know. I guess he just doesn't know that he's breaching these. Otherwise, he wouldn't be doing it, would he? Or he'd have got like, he'd have bought the car with like a bank loan or something like that. Can you do that? Yeah, you could secure a loan against a car. I guess maybe you wouldn't get such good financing or something. Who cares? Look, he shouldn't have done this. But did he know? It doesn't matter. He's still getting in trouble. Ricardo sees himself as a bit of a YouTube celebrity figure. He now boasts nearly 400,000 subscribers to a channel which promises to offer the full lowdown on the latest high-performance cars, reviews of automotive events, and exciting updates about the latest modifications that he's making to his own cars. Mate, I don't see myself as a YouTube celebrity. I mean, on this channel, I don't have 400... I don't even know how many subscribers I have on this channel, but I got a lot more overall. And I don't know, it's a bit cringe to call yourself a celebrity, isn't it? Unless you are like a bona fide celebrity. But then, I don't even know how does that, no one cares. It's just a bit cringe, isn't it? A bit like my content. And when it comes to modifying the new M4, he wasn't just hanging a pair of fuzzy dice over the rearview mirror. He was really getting his hands dirty with extensive internal engine work, installations of hybrid turbos and methanol injectors. Holy shit. By the time he'd finished, he'd modified the car to run at about 720 horsepower instead of the standard 444 horsepower. Holy shit. The BMW M4 is not a large car. 444 horsepower is already insane. That thing must fly. But BMW didn't seem particularly impressed with this upgrade. Yeah, because modifications typically don't add value to a car. They typically reduce the value. It wasn't Ricardo that had been purposefully taking the piss. He just seemed completely unaware of the finer details of his finance deal. He later posted a regretful YouTube video in which he helpfully warned his fans to read their contracts before carefully taking their new car to bits. He said, "I think it's pretty crazy. You can't even modify your own car." Yeah, but unfortunately, it's not your car. But this seems to indicate that he still doesn't quite get how the car technically wasn't his to modify. Fortunately, Mr. Living Life Fast somehow managed to pull a few strings and raise the money to buy the M4 outright. Shit, respect. That's a lot of money to pull together. I mean, 400,000 subscribers is a lot of subscribers. That guy's making some money. And he later took a swipe at his haters, who had apparently poked fun at his naivety. Oh, f*** off. I don't want to poke fun at this guy. This is one of those things like, who the f*** reads all the terms and conditions? I have like a big-ass mortgage. And I'm like, did I read all the terms and conditions? I'm hoping my lawyer did. Because I fucking didn't.
Believe it or not, jail right away.
And I probably should have. That's not advice. Read the terms and conditions. I mean, shit. God, I'm so irresponsible. I'm as irresponsible as this guy. That's probably why I'm on his side. Scrolling through the comments on his video, I don't see any genuine hate, just a liberal sprinkling of bewilderment and the self-proclaimed face of the modified car scene. Mate, you're not though, are you? Because I love car YouTubers. I watch a bunch of different car YouTubers, although I guess not so much in the modification scene. But, I don't know you. Maybe just needs to slow down a bit next time and take a closer read of the contract he's signing. I have to say I don't know him. It's entirely possible I've watched one of his videos. I just don't remember the name of his channel. Eyes without a face. You have to be a bit careful on live streams in China. Oh, shit. There's obviously no sign of YouTube or Facebook or Instagram within the Great Firewall of China, which also places extreme restrictions on what is classed as an acceptable broadcast. You're likely to land in hot water if you dare to cross the line by producing a live public broadcast, which is either a bit vulgar or expresses criticisms of the government. So, the 617 million Chinese live streamers. Whoa! What? That can't be accurate, Danny. 617 million Chinese live streamers. That's more than half the population of China live streaming. It's not right. That must be an error. Savage me in the comments, people, or savage Danny. Or is this right? If so, that's insane. They tend to play it safe by producing hours of footage in which they largely just eat food or sing karaoke or do both at the same time. Now that's a new channel for Simon that practically sells itself. Oh my god. The fact that there are channels where people just show up and they have like, can you imagine just tons of food on the desk in front of me? And all we do is we talk a bit of shit about internet, we spill some tea, we eat some, it's called a mukbang. I just be like eating tons of KFC or whatever and just having a chat about shit. And people watch this. It's so popular. I mean, of course, it's driven by like the personalities, and I have the personality of a shoe, so I couldn't pull it off. I need like props, like actual, content. One particular live streamer who managed to draw a respectable audience on the Chinese network Duyo went by the modest name of Your Highness Quao Below. The cringe! This glamorous, twinkly-eyed, fresh-faced teenager, or maybe she was in her early 20s at a push, had managed to attract around 100,000 followers, almost entirely men, with her random thoughts and advice on makeup and pop music. Those men ain't watching for the makeup and the pop music advice. Known for her beautiful looks and her sweet, healing voice, Quao, I don't know how to pronounce the Q in Chinese, I also don't care that much, but I'm just going to say Quao. Quao wasn't shy about people, but sometimes we get it right. Chinese people can't watch YouTube. I mean, obviously, Chinese people can watch YouTube. People in China can't watch YouTube. So, okay. Shut up. Quao wasn't shy about asking for donations from her fans, and these often came flowing in thick and fast. Some of the more devoted worshippers of the cute goddess would send in the equivalent of $14,000 at a time. Are you smoking the crack-a-lack? What the fuck? I mean, I watch live streams. Not so much on Twitch. I've been on Twitch like a couple of times, but I watch YouTube live streams and you can donate. Although it keeps telling me I can donate, and then I try to donate and then it's like, there was an error. And I'm like, all right. I mean, I'd like to donate. And every time I try it, it's just like, doesn't work. And I'm like, okay. And I've tried like linking a new card. It's the card I use on Google. It's a regular ass bank card. What the fuck? Why can't I like the super chat or whatever? Quao's saucer eyes and smooth complexion seem... sorry, I just need to go back a little bit.
Yeah, it's rewind time.
$14,000? I've watched live streams. People donate like $100. I think I saw one where someone donated $500 once, and the people who were live streaming were like, whoa! $14,000. What do you think is going to happen? It's like, obviously it's some like incel dude. Like, but it's like, what do you think is going to happen? She's going to come to your house? Dude, get a life.
She's my girlfriend, you intolerant shit.
Whoa!
I like this guy.
Quail's saucer eyes and smooth complexion seems so unnaturally beautiful. Oh god, is she not real? Oh my god, that's amazing. She's not even real. She's by like a company or some dude who made a virtual version, isn't she? Oh, come on, please. Now, just before we continue with today's video, let me tell you about today's glorious sponsor, Squarespace. Look, it's, what is it, February now? This probably going to, yeah, no, it is actually February, and this ad will go out in February. It's the beginning of the year. You know, if you've got some idea, some dream that you want to do in 2022, well, if it's online, you should do it with Squarespace. Squarespace, basically, it's essentially the best way on the internet to make a website. You might think, I don't know, back in the day, I was part of like computer club at school because I was all nerdy and shit, and it'd be like, yeah, you wanna like make the backgrounds like yellow or whatever, you know? They'd be like, okay, you got to go into this notepad document and type in this random code that you find on the internet, and it makes the background yellow, and you're like, great starting point. I made the background yellow. And oh my god, would it take forever to make a website? With Squarespace, there's none of that. It's an incredibly easy way to make a website into whatever you like. There's two main options, right? You can either choose a template, which I'd recommend, especially if you're not very design talented like your boy, or you can start from scratch and customize everything to be exactly how you want it to be. As I know, just use one of the templates. They all look amazing. Just, if you want to go check it out, just go to squarespace.com. You'll see all of the template options. You'll be like, I want a site that looks sort of like that. That is the bones of my site. You click on it, you replace some text, you replace some images, you tweak the colors, and boom, you have a beautiful website that it looks like it was made for you by some super professional dude, but you just did it in literally half an hour, I think, is what I spent on my website in Squarespace. It's just ridiculously easy. And once it's all set up, there's no technical nonsense to deal with. I don't know. I've used other like website makers in the past. Not like Notepad. That was real back in the day. But it's like, yeah, you got to update. And it's like, I don't know why am I updating. And then you update and it breaks it. And you're like, why? What have I done? And then you have to go onto Upwork and find some guy who knows about websites to fix it. And then you've spent loads of money. And this is a real story. I didn't like it, but everything is much easier with Squarespace. And then, once you got it set up, boy, have they got a lot of stuff to make your website thrive. Where's that big list? Email campaigns, patronage portals, social integrations, member-only areas, analytics, commercial ops, 24/7 customer support. Everything you need is in one place. Look. Whatever your dream is for 2022, if it involves a website, do it with Squarespace. Go to squarespace.com to get started. And when you are ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/Blaze and you'll save 10% off your first purchase. Also, a big thank you to Datacamp for sponsoring today's video. Datacamp is an educational tool that provides its users with more than 300 courses and interactive learning experiences focused on the fundamentals and applications of data science. Now, you might be thinking, yo, Simon, data science? What on earth does this have to do with me? I do, I don't know, some job that's absolutely nothing to do with data. But the reality is, data is everywhere. And understanding data is just one of those skills that once you've kind of got it, you're like, oh my God. Really, with this, and this makes sense with that. It's surprisingly applicable wherever you go. And if you go over to Datacamp, you'll see that they have all these courses, and you'll be like, oh yeah, that does apply. Oh, I could learn that, and I could do this, and that does apply to this. It's kind of, I mean, yeah, data is everywhere. I think that's even in the copy. What do they say? Data, they literally say data is everywhere. There we go. Datacamp isn't just about equations, it's a fundamental critical thinking skill that's sadly underrepresented in most primary education programs. Yeah, I know how much I learned about data at school. Nothing. Use Datacamp once a day at home to keep your mind sharp, or play around in the mobile version while you're stuck in line at the grocery store to pass the time productively. Yes, it's better than just playing, I don't know, what's that stupid fruit game? Don't play that, get some Datacamp. Spreadsheet fundamentals. All right, this is a good example of like, how is this relevant to me? Like, I would think that my job has absolutely nothing to do with spreadsheets, but then it's like, actually the amount of data that you get from YouTube, you can download it in all the spreadsheet formats and stuff and raw data and upload it and use it. And I'm like, oh my God, somehow spreadsheets are a part of my life. And being able to understand them and use them better is something that I have learned via Datacamp's Spreadsheets Fundamental course, which is fantastic. So if you're ready to unlock new career opportunities and become data fluent today, I like that term, then you can use my link in the description box below and check out the first chapter of any Datacamp course for free. It's a great way to try it out. There's a link below. And back to today's video. Quell's saucer eyes and smooth complexion seems so unnaturally beautiful. Oh God, is she not real? Oh my God, that's amazing. She's not even real. She's by like a company or some dude who made a virtual version, isn't she? Oh, come on, please, 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 please. Most people would have guessed she was using some kind of filter to mildly enhance her looks, and in 2019, the filter fell off. Kwao had been participating in a live stream with her fellow vlogger, Chin Z, and thought it might be fun to kick off the broadcast by covering her face with a crude anime-style filter. The fans weren't entirely happy about this and encouraged her to remove the silly filter, but Kwao initially refused and insisted that she'd only take off the filter after she'd received 100,000 won, around $12,000 in donations. Wait, hang on, okay, I had the idea so she's soliciting large amounts of donations from multiple people. I thought one crack-smoking person had sent in $14,000 at one time, which is... it's still insane. These are insane numbers, but less insane. A couple of minutes into the broadcast, young Kwao couldn't help but notice that all her fans suddenly seemed to be embarking upon a mass exodus from the VIP chat room, and it took a while for her to work out why. A pesky technical glitch had removed the anime-style cartoon filter and revealed Kwao's true face for the very first time. It turns out that she wasn't a fresh-faced goddess at all. She was a 58-year-old woman. Brilliant!
Don't lie to me.
This is fucking beautifully. It's sad that it ended for her, but oh my God, what a brilliant story. One of the YouTube videos which later preserved this moment was posted under the rather brutal title of Pretty Blogger's Face Filter Falls Off Midway Through Live Stream Revealing Old Hag. That's a little bit inappropriate. That might seem a little harsh, but many of her male admirers were pretty angry about being misled. Yes, we call those people incels.
I don't think she's my girlfriend.
They withdrew their donations and threatened legal action on the grounds that Kwao had indulged in fraudulent behavior. Mate, you are just absolutely hurting in the butt that the girl you thought that if you donated enough money to her, she's gonna like, I don't know what your fantasy, how this plays out for you in the real world, mate, that it's not happening. That it turns out that she's not what you thought she would be. The only thing that'd be more beautiful if it was a dude with a voice changer. Goddamn. Some commenters have argued that men were gullible fools and had it coming. Yeah, agreed. And it does perhaps open up a wider conversation about why men are only happy to throw shits and money at women vloggers if they appear to be young and pretty. I don't think that would be a very long conversation, though. But it also has to be said that Quao's money-grabbing tactics were bordering on the extreme. Before the mask had slipped, she had been enticing viewers with an opportunity to meet up in the flesh, but it wasn't going to come cheap. She declared, whoever spends about 100,000 yen, about $900. No, that's not right. Didn't we say earlier that 100,000 yen was like 12 grand? Yeah, it's like 12 grand. Because I think it's like roughly 10 to 1 US dollar to yen or won, whatever. It's won, right? 100,000 yen? Or is that... This is so confusing, Danny. I'm so lost. Look, it's not going to be $900. It's going to be like 10 grand. On the platform, you get the chance to meet me. If you can't afford to play, then you don't deserve to be entertained. Spend 100,000 and we meet. Would have been fascinating to have been a fly on the wall during that proposed meeting. It's difficult to ascertain exactly what Quao has been up to since the big accidental reveal. Probably she just bought an island somewhere and was like, "Way!" Fucking hell. She's reported to have claimed that the whole thing was just a deliberate publicity stunt and that she is now in talks to sponsor beauty cameras and release a new album. But all of this seems unlikely, bearing in mind that she's gone completely silent on the live stream front amidst reports that her Douyo account has been indefinitely suspended. It's not all bad news though. Although she's no longer releasing new content, the incident sparked a massive boost in her followers on the platform, surging from 100,000 to just over 1 million. If only she had something to say to all these new friends. Oh my god, now it's even more interesting because she pulled off this crazy stunt. Although that's not why those 100,000 dudes were watching. And by dudes, I mean incels. Not all of them were incels. I'm sure some of them were there for the makeup tips. The 0.0 blah 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 blah. 1. Bell End of the Week. Oh, this is a new segment. Sam! Stinger or something. We're doing new segments. This segment's Bell End of the Week, as you know. When I used to work behind the counter at Global Video, I often had to listen to customers complaining that the movie they rented last night was terrible. Without wanting to sound too cold-hearted, I couldn't really give a shit. I wasn't there to absorb in-depth critical analysis. I was only there to serve the customers and shout at the little oiks who were trying to steal bags of popcorn. Thankfully, nobody had the nerve to ask for a refund based on the perceived poor quality, even if I'd been the one who recommended an 87-year-old woman that Freddy Got Fingered is sprinkled with genius comical flourishes. But in January 2022, 2 fans had the cheek to ask for their money back after watching a movie on Amazon Prime that failed to live up to their expectations. The movie wow, this is super recent. The movie in question was the British musical romantic comedy Yesterday from 2019, written by Richard Curtis and directed by Danny Boyle. It was very average. Everyone really liked this movie. I like the Beatles. Beatles are fine. I don't think the Beatles are incredible. And every time I'm like, I just don't think they're the greatest bands that ever lived. People are like, how can you say that? And it's like, I don't know, because I've got opinions of my own.
How dare you?
I think the Beatles are fantastic. They wrote, and most impressively, they made an absolutely incredible amount of great music in an incredibly short time. And I enjoyed the music from Yesterday, but the movie overall was a bit average, wasn't it? Himesh Patel stars as a struggling songwriter who wakes up one morning to discover that he's the only person in the world who remembers the Beatles, so he naturally takes advantage of this by introducing to the world the songs of the Beatles while claiming credit for writing them and becoming a global superstar. Funnily enough, I think Richard Curtis stole my idea. Just a few years ago, I wrote a similar outline for a film in which a guy wakes up one morning to discover that he's the only person in the world who remembers Kajagoogoo. What the f*** is that? So he naturally takes advantage of this by introducing the world to the songs of Kajagoogoo while claiming credit for writing them and receiving very minor and short-lived acclaim. Come to think of it now, Curtis probably had the better angle. This would all help if I knew what Kajagoogoo was. So 5% of the audience like, Danny, hilarious. Kajagoogoo, yeah.
おや、気づきましたか。リク殿も好き者にござるな。
Anyway, Connor Wolf at Maryland and Peter Michael Rosa of California saw the trailer for Yesterday on Amazon Prime and decided to stump up the $3.99 rental fee. But they found out they'd been completely misled by a trailer which depicted a tiny glimpse of the Cuban-Spanish actress Ana de Armas, who never actually made it to the final cut. Oh no. I feel like if you're in a movie and they cut you out entirely, it's like, oh no. Was I that bad?
Yeah, some guys are just lucky, I guess.
The actress who has appeared in such movies as Blade Runner 2049 and No Time to Die had filmed all of her scenes as Himesh's rival love interest. But in what Richard Curtis described as a traumatic cut, the character was completely removed from the movie, despite an apparently brilliant performance from Ana de Armas, because test audiences hadn't liked the idea of Himesh straying from his primary love interest. Wow, that's so intense. They cut a whole thread out of a movie after filming. I guess that must happen. Wow. You got to be so disappointed if you're Ana de Armas, right? I mean, I'm sure she still got paid. Connor, of course she got paid. Afterwards, they're like, we're cutting you out. We need the money back. Be like, yo, guys, no, it's not how it works.
Give me your fucking money!
Connor and Peter weren't happy about this, though, so they took the only course of reasonable action at their disposal. No, they didn't just write off the $3.99 rental fee. They filed a federal class action lawsuit against Universal, seeking $5 million on behalf of all affected customers who'd been duped by the misleading trailer. The lawsuit notes that unable to rely on the fame of the actors to maximize ticket and movie sales and rentals, the defendants consequently used Mr. de Armas's fame, radiance, and brilliance to promote the film, including her scenes in the movie trailers. Mates, what have you lost? Show me your financial loss, and then we can talk about a lawsuit. This is going to get tossed out so fucking fast. A judge is going to be like, show me your loss, show me your loss, show me your loss, show me your loss! Nothing will happen. Mark my words. Lawsuit notes that. I read that already. I'll admit that it does seem a bit weird how Amazon were showing a trailer featuring a cut scene from a film which is already 3 years old. Maybe they just showed the wrong trailer. Universal has so far declined to comment. But this has got to be frivolous lawsuit filed by a couple of bellends who are perhaps a little obsessive about Ana de Armas written all over it. Alleged bellends. Clearly they're litigious. Let's be careful. They've already got one $5 million lawsuit going on. They're like, Simon, you called me a bellend. $5 million. Show me your loss! And I didn't call you a bellend. It's alleged. My opinion.
In a stunning turn of events, a superhero is being sued.
Then again, maybe I'm completely wrong and Universal will hastily agree to a multi-million-dollar settlement. Tomorrow never knows. There is a light that never goes out. You know that you're gaming live stream back to the regular content. That's how we do it, apparently. Danny's up to something. You know that your gaming live stream isn't going particularly well when viewers are taking more notice of what's going on in the background than what's going on in the realm of Flutterwinkle or whatever the game happens to be. Ushiru from Shikoku in Japan made several mistakes during a 2015 live stream on Twitch in which he was showing off his skills on Minecraft while simultaneously showing off his swishy new Zippo-style lighter. Okay. Man, the internet's such a weird place. Like, what do? I live stream Minecraft while playing with a Zippo. All right. I mean, there's channels that combine nowadays. I was making a joke the other day that I just want to do like, it's funny that I mentioned it in the same episode story about mukbangs, but I'll just do a channel called Simon Watches Movies He Hasn't Seen While Eating KFC, because Simon watching movies he hasn't seen is not enough of a thing. So I do it while eating KFC. And it sounds, I made it as a joke because you see these weird crossover things. And the guy I was talking to was like, no, you should do that. I mean, I'm not going to because I can't do that because I'll be eating KFC all the time. And I don't want to become enormously obese.
Wow, I can't find a flaw in his logic.
So, we're not going to do that. But the weird combination of things totally works. If you've got weird ideas for combo things, hit me up in the comments below. I'm genuinely interested. With a lit cigarette already hanging casually from his mouth, Ishiro began pissing about with his new lighter and filling it up with fluid. You want to play along, you see if you can spot every mistake that he made over the course of the next few minutes. Ishiro drops a little lighter fluid on his desk, which he dutifully wipes clean with a bit of tissue before tossing it in a nearby waste paper basket full of paper. His clumsy sausage fingers also managed to get the fluid oozing all down the outside of the lighter, something which he only first notices when he attempts to ignite it, and the lighter turns into a ball of flame. But don't panic! Ishiru's got this. He throws the lighter into the basket, which you may remember he only recently turned into a flammable hazard. It was already a flammable hazard, because it was filled with paper, and now it's even more so. And then there was the lighter fluid. Starting to panic a little now as the basket catches fire, he shoves it up against a back wall and starts piling loads of cardboard boxes on top of it as he nips out of shot to get a pathetically small bowl of water. Mate, if this wasn't so dangerous, I'd assume this was staged. You're so incompetent. I can't believe people actually have this level of incompetence. As Ishiro is bouncing around the room in a mad flap, his actions are accompanied by the strangely haunting cooing sounds of the babyish female Japanese voice tool, which is still busy reading out the latest comments from his appreciative viewers. These messages are now running along the lines of, "Dude, maybe you should get some help." But the eerie effect is that of a baby girl gently cackling with glee and wonder as the world burns around her. For his final masterstroke, oh god, dude, what are you going to do next? How could this go more wrong? Ishiro resorts to further fueling the fire with some blankets. What are you doing? Why?
What an idiot!
As one YouTube commenter noted, "I just love how in the process of trying to put the fire out, he did everything necessary to build a fire." As the room inevitably becomes engulfed by fire and smoke, Ishiro flees in terror and eventually decides to call the fire department. Most reports seem to indicate that nobody was seriously hurt, although 30% of the property was burned down, and Ishiro and his 3 unfortunate family members were all treated for burns. God damn. One local Japanese newspaper report suggested that an elderly woman in the adjacent property died in the flames, but the events reported there don't seem quite to fit the story, and it's likely that the newspaper was conflating 2 entirely separate incidents. What? The news getting it wrong? Nah. Danny, I don't believe it. None of this should cast any doubt on Ishiro's supreme talents on Minecraft, though. But when it comes to dealing with real-life challenges, guy's not so hot, is he? Wheel around the fountain. It must be nice to get paid for playing games all day long. My mate Mark once worked briefly as a games tester for the Sheffield-based software company Gremlin Graphics, and I felt a slight pang of envy every time he landed. Envy that he'd landed such a cushy job. I think I was probably working nights in a sandwich factory at the time. That's so weird. Yeah, there's got to be... I never really thought about it, but all those pre-packed sandwiches, they've got to be made somewhere. There's just someplace pack it. People are always Simon, obviously. It's just one of those things you never really thought about. There's someone just putting sandwiches together. Thousands of sandwiches and slicing them up like you would make a sandwich in a kitchen. This isn't interesting at all. Why do I find this so weird? It's just, one of those things that you'd think about at some point in your life, but you never do. Also, I've heard that games testing is actually incredibly boring because you just end up playing the same thing over and over again, or you just spend an insane amount of time just wandering around like spaces looking for problems. Okay, if I press the wall like this angle, or this angle, or this angle, or this angle, do I fall through the wall? Apparently, it's incredibly dull.
Joke's on you, I'm into that shit!
Surprisingly, Mark told me that games testing wasn't as fun as you might think. It was apparently a boring and repetitive job with lots of paperwork, which destroyed his love of gaming forever. Didn't think there'd be much paperwork involved with it, though. But nowadays, if you're a particularly skilled gamer with a winning personality, it's easier to make money playing games without having to bother with any of the paperwork. Popular streamers can pull in sizable donations from awestruck followers who love nothing more than to tune into somebody else's gaming session without having to go to the effort of waggling their joystick. In the case of gamer Angel Hamilton, also known as Zillion OP, it wasn't just a matter of trying to raise a bit of extra pocket money. The famous Twitch streamer, known for his prowess on titles such as World of Warcraft and Diablo 3, was asking for donations to help cover his medical expenses and maybe even buy a posh new wheelchair. Angel was wheelchair bound and was completely paralyzed from the waist down. I don't know where this is going, but if it turns out he can fucking walk, how is this guy? This guy's not bell end of the week. He's bell end of the century, allegedly. I'm sure it's not going to go in that direction, though. No one's that much of a dick, right? Right? Angel managed to raise over $20,000 in donations from supporters. He apparently spent $2,000 on a new wheelchair and splashed out on a few new gaming upgrades. He also spent around $5,000 on moving house so that he could live a bit closer to his girlfriend Brianna, also known as Panthoria, who participated in the channel by adding commentary, reading out viewers' comments, and sharing anecdotes whenever the game hit a boring bit. But things took a bit of an unexpected turn during a live stream in 2013, perhaps forgetting that the camera was still... No! While he forgot the camera is pointing his direction, he miraculously regains the use of his legs. Or he appears to. He just stands up from the wheelchair, wanders off into the distance, possibly to answer an urgent call of nature. We immediately hear Brianna shriek, "Oh my god," before gaining her composure and launching into a rambling story about how they recently took the dog to an aquarium where it peed all down her leg. What are you talking at? You don't want to... I mean, that is an elephant, my dude. In the room. An elephant in the room, you know what I mean? Shortly afterwards, the camera is tilted away from the wheelchair before we eventually return to the familiar scene of Angel sitting back down in his very extravagant gaming chair. Savage. Brianna gives a quick explanation that Angel had earlier thrown himself out of the wheelchair to grab water and the dog had accidentally spilled it all over the computer wires. What are you talking about? That might have sounded convincing to any viewers with very short memory spans who couldn't remember what they saw with their own eyes a couple of minutes earlier. Both Angel and Brianna were immediately banned from Twitch as outrage and fury erupted all over social media. Twitch refunded customers who had paid to subscribe to his channel and released a statement which read, "His actions are a huge slap in the face to the Twitch community members with real disabilities. We have zero tolerance for this type of behavior, and the character demonstrated in this situation is truly reprehensible." Oh my god, is it? I thought it's so reprehensible I couldn't actually believe that this is where this was going to go. It wasn't the first time that Angel had been banned from Twitch. Had earlier faced a temporary ban after he was caught cheating in Diablo 3 by using bots to collect in-game gold, a practice which violates the platform's terms and conditions. Angel and Brianna later claimed that they had been unfairly treated by Twitch. You smoking the crack? They reckon that Angel had been undergoing physical therapy for several years and was able to walk again in an extremely limited capacity. Angel also showed off a few photographs where he is seen using a wheelchair in everyday situations that don't involve World of Warcraft, although this could just mean that his deception went way beyond Twitch. Of course it did. At some point he must have got, they said he was famous. Danny said he was famous, right? So at some point someone's going to see him in the real world and be like, "Oh my god, dude, you're the guy from Twitch. You can walk!"
Other Pokemon can fly majestically through the sky, but I can walk.
You what?
So it'd have to carry on this crazy lie in the real world as well. Dude, that is a hole you have dug yourself into. We may never know the full story, and it might seem harsh to judge, but the evidence doesn't look good. A. Angel bolted out of his wheelchair with no difficulty whatsoever. B. Brianna clearly panics and starts babbling about fish and dog pee to try and distract viewers from what just happened. C. The camera was tilted to avoid showing Angel getting back into his wheelchair. Why do they do that if he has nothing to hide? D. Brianna makes up a story about Angel throwing himself out of his wheelchair to catch some water, contradicting what we just saw with our own eyes. E. How do you catch falling water anyway? Angel might be able to stand up in court, but I can't say the same about his defense. Oh my god, dude. That is such a dick move. Extraordinary bell-end move, allegedly. If you enjoyed this video, this is the end of the video. I'm sorry it's over. Please like, subscribe. Thank you. I'll see you next time.
What the hell is even that?